back to the GSTL, and Symbol was underestimated by Deer. Now he takes the lead, takes the momentum, and Haiva's been brought out for a ZVZ. He needs a win here.
Yeah, he needs to win this. That is definitely true right now. If Haiva does not take the next game, then suddenly Seoul finds themselves in a 1-3 situation. They have to rely on the last man standing. If that's the case, and players like Supernova are still sitting on the bench, sitting pretty there, so everything hinges on Haiva now.
Yeah, Haiva looking ready. Definitely a very good ZVZ player. We've seen him perform really, really well in the Team League and in the Individual League. Sometimes he tries gimmicky builds even, and even though they're gimmicky and they look like they may not work in a normal game, he's somehow, some way makes it work.
Yeah, he somehow always finds a way. I don't know how, but it works for him. Symbol, on the other hand, is also a very good Zerg versus Zerg player, and even though Haiva is very unpredictable and is someone who can pull off these strategies, he is by no means invincible. He has solid records in his matchups, but he is not the outstanding player that you expect to be in the top 8 of the next Premier League. So, a very good player, a very unpredictable player, a tough opponent to face, especially in a best of 1, but still someone who needs to work a lot if he wants to take down Symbol.
Yeah. Here's our GSTL All-Star poll, where we have all the players selected for each races. And this time the races are split up correctly. So these are our current standings. And make sure you go to GOMTV.net, check out that poll, get voting. As times run out, you want to see your favorite players, pick them.
The match is going to happen on the 10th of October, so you can vote at GOMTV.net. If you go to the forum, there's a thread. You can submit multiple choices here for your favorite races. And of course the players, we have Live, Linux, Simple, Haiva, and Curious currently for Zerg. And with Haiva being in the lineup, it just shows that people really like his style. It's very entertaining to see what he's going to do, because I sometimes feel that at the beginning of the game, he himself does not know. He sometimes just looks at the screen and is like, what am I going to do today? I guess I'm going to find out if that works.
Yeah, he actually has he has 2 die right in his booth, and he rolls them, and that's what he decides he's going to make his pool on based on what it lands.
We have to, of course, to give him a little more justice than that. He definitely prepares his build and practices them hard, but it's really entertaining to see that he has a very different style from everyone else, a very aggressive style at that. And that also makes him unpredictable in the sense that every now and then he just plays a very greedy build that nobody expects. Yep. So right now he finds himself in a Zerg versus Zerg. Once again, a matchup where his team has relied upon him quite often. Did come out this season as the last player most of the time, but now he is the 3rd one. There is still the option for the Seoul coach to send out maybe Trap or someone else later on to snipe another player. But for now, the entire idea here is take out a Symbol.
Fruitland is the map counter. This could be crazy. The lemons give minerals, not gas, though, and this is a Zerg versus Zerg. Symbol up against Haiva, GSTL.
It is Fruitland once again, another demonstration of the map, and starting to the bottom left we currently see our first Zerg player. This is of course
AZUBU Symbol,
the man himself who just took down Deer, who apparently underestimated his opponent a little bit with those 4 mana in exile that he just put into the middle of the map. And now we have him against a very different opponent. The top right, the Zerg player for the Seoul team, of course, the one and only
Seoul Hiva.
And if you have seen this map not too often in the past, we want to remind you once again that it's not only very cool to look at, but those lemons that you see on the map to the left and to the right side also have a function. You can take them down and then you can harvest 500 minerals there, which can really come into play if you control the map.
Exactly.
So that's something that we always want to see. And so far, actually, if a player harvested the lemons, you always won.
That's true. It's actually a very good stat. Something to consider, like I said before, hold that thought. For the Storm, a very good drawing here. Very Carbot-esque.
Yeah,
I'm liking it.
The Coward Queen. I love it.
But going back to what I was saying here, if you have a game that's gas dependent, like Muta versus Muta, the player who takes control of the map with the Zerglings could harvest the lemons, but the mineral income alone not going to help you too much getting ahead in the gas wars. But it can be very useful, especially in late game when you need that mineral bank to actually remax on roaches, hydras.
Am I the only one, by the way, who feels that the cardboard animation of the queen doesn't really do the Muta justice at all? It always looks so silly, and it looks like way too kind, you know, like cuddling the egg and stuff like that. I don't know, but like...
I like it.
No, I like it, but I always feel like the queen, if I was a queen, I would be very disappointed. I would be like, hey, wait a second, like, I look really silly.
You've seen some of the episodes the queen gets angry, though, right? And the eyes turn red, looks very mad.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, then jump onto YouTube and search for Cardboard and StarCraft. Pretty cool clips that we have from StarCraft, comic strips and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I start rambling here, but basically just check it out. You won't regret it. If you don't know it, it's hilarious.
I recommend doing it when you have a little bit of free time, because you're going to get stuck. Like, if you think, I'm going to leave my house in 10 minutes, and you start watching those videos, it's going to be probably a little bit longer than you expected.
But if you have a good data plan with your provider and you're stuck on the subway, that's what you should do.
Yeah. If you have a bad data plan, I'm really sorry. You should probably get that upgraded. If you can't get unlimited data, then, well, you don't live in Korea. But
we have a scout going in, by the way, and now already... just had those not sneaking into the main base.
No, I don't think so. The queen made that angry face I was talking about and certainly said no.
So I was like, okay, maybe not now. Maybe later when we have speed, but we're a little bit too slow for now. Well, right now what we have is both players starting with a very similar build. We had both of them going for the exact build order here in regards to pool and also hatch timing. We have a couple of extra queens actually for both of them. The gas a lot faster here for a symbol actually. However, at this point doesn't have an extractor and is not getting one. Overlord a little bit overextending himself, but won't have a problem of escaping here.
Yeah, I don't think those queens are going to get that off. That was an interesting idea, but he's actually going all the way. Look how far those queens are walking. They can't get the queens. They're turning around. I think that was a misclick, though, having walked that far. Maybe he thought there could be another Overlord. This one here, that was a little bit further forward, but did not happen that way.
I mean, we've seen crazy matches on this now. Sometimes Fruitland just goes completely bananas, especially when the lemons are involved. It's like a well-dressed fruit salad, and right now those queens are, of course, having a really great time here. I mean, that map just makes me happy.
Yeah. Aren't you glad we added it in?
Yeah, I love it. I really love the map. I actually really like that tile set.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. Like, it's really cool. We should see more maps like this. I mean, we have a lot of beach maps, so from now on we should see more fruit maps.
Yeah, I'm looking for the Korean barbecue map. Like, it's on a grill. Like, burns units if they're there during certain parts of the map.
Yeah, I heard that they actually wanted to introduce it to the League ones, but the problem was that it was just too imbalanced for Terran, and all those Hellions just had such a great time, and the Helvets as well, that they said, yeah, we can't really do that to the other races.
I would love to see, though, a map that has dangerous aspects. Not random, though. No random aspects, but parts of the map that at certain times would be dangerous terrain. We saw some of this in Brood War, actually. And I think Warcraft 3 had some maps that had some little things like that. I don't know, that was just a shot in the dark. I don't know if that really...
Yeah, you didn't hit anything there.
not the tournament maps. When I hear about Warcraft 3 maps, sometimes I just think, well, I played on some of these maps, but like that was not pro map, right? I don't know.
No, that was definitely not a tournament map. Well, right now, if you actually look at the game at hand, the timings for both of them are a little bit insane. I mean, we have a bit of a difference here with the tech, but on the other hand, the upgrades are actually spot on. And there's not a whole lot of a difference in the tech either. The road speed should start in a second now for Symbol. The third base is coming down at roughly the same time, so the difference here are really marginal. Both players are going for very similar builds for the same unit composition, and this is going to be a map where it all comes down to position and unit control. Look at the tumors. They have 11 creep tumors, each one of them.
Yeah. Haiva did one thing different, though. He invested a ton of gas. That's why you can see his gas is much less than his opponents, even though they got their gas at like the exact same time. He made 3 Overseers because he really wanted to know what was going on. And actually, ironically, he still hasn't quite figured it out. He needs to be careful with those Overseers, too. That's a lot of gas he invested. You want to keep those alive so they can keep scouting.
The first small difference that we have here is the burrow upgrade, and that is actually something that really can come into play depending on the situation, but just the heal ability itself can be crazy good.
Yeah. Upgrades here almost dead spot even. are just dead even. And the Overseer here going to patrol around the drones.
It's gonna be fun when they actually like reach the creep within the middle of the map, like both of them.
Yeah.
Trying to put down those creep tumors. It's like,
The queens like put a creep tumor down and kill the other one that's been put down. The queens start fighting each other in the middle of the map.
Queen Wars. That's definitely like a fun map that exists.
Are you making a shot in the dark? Is that like a...
I'm pretty sure that actually exists. I would be surprised if it didn't.
So you would be surprised if it didn't, but you're like...
Huh?
You've never seen the map.
No, I've never seen them.
You're just pretty sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty sure. Like, we had Queen Wars in some matches. Like, there are a couple of players out there who relied on queens heavily in every single matchup, so, yeah.
Well, these two groups of roaches are not equal in size. In fact, Symbol having a slightly bigger one here is going to dominate. He could actually go for the lemon. I think he...
No.
Nah,
he
knows
can't
the
go...
roaches are going on the other side, so...
There's no way he can go this far to the left and actually like risk his opponent running into the base, so that's not going to happen. But what I find really interesting that is that we have for Symbol now the Baneling that's going down, so he really wants to get Banelings and then just burst into his opponent's units and make sure that he does a lot of damage to that and then clean everything up with the rest. Whereas we have for Hiva a commitment to Hydralisks. And if those roaches are not there anymore to actually buffer for the Hydras, then the Banelings are even going to be more effective.
Very true. We see this very rarely in this matchup, but when you do have Banelings against Hydras, it's not a pretty picture. The Hydras are pretty slow, especially off creep. The Banelings just crash in, and the Hydras cannot take them out fast enough. So this is a funny game because it's one of the most passive ZVZs I think I've watched in the last month. And not just because both players are making mutas and scared to attack each other, they're making roaches and hydras, and they're moving on the map, but the defender's advantage is always just too much. You almost tried to hold the bottom of that ramp, but you realize, no, it's not going to happen, especially not with the hydras there.
Yeah, trying to run away and having a good position. This is a situation where you want to have one infest on the high ground for that so important fungal. But at this point, none of those two players committed into an infestation pit. But here come those Banelings that we talked about. 22 and Baneling speed.
You think he's going to hit a timing here? Just go for it?
He might as well. I mean, right now, if he waits too long, those Banelings will lose quite a lot of value. He needs to get a position, though, and that's the bigger question. Does he get a position where he can maybe attack with the roaches from one side and get those Banelings in from the other? That would be the ideal scenario for him.
Banelings are rolling, and they come in from the side, like you said, but...
There we go, he's moving in and he's detonating the Banelings. He's going for the Hydralist immediately, and the light armored units are going down like crazy. In army supply, still a slight lead here for Symbol. The +2/+2 is done for him already. Hiva is still on one armor upgrade.
Yep, that Baneling at the back looking a little bit silly. Finally does crash through. The AoE damage of the Banelings gave him a lot of momentum here. He's actually able to push through. More reinforcements coming. Queen's trying to transfuse here. This is actually still pretty close.
It's still pretty close, but we still don't have that second armor upgrade for Hiva, and that's a massive problem for him. A 30 supply lead for Symbol, just underlining this fact. We have him now in a really good position here. He's moving in one again, and he's going to snipe it. There comes the transfuse. He doesn't get it quite yet. He wants it, but he has to retreat since more queens are approaching.
More queens approaching here. His reinforcements, though, do come, and he now takes about a 30 supply lead in army. And it looks like, the defender's advantage may not be enough here with all these reinforcements.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a 50 supply lead right now. It looks like Hiva is going to get symboled here. The Roach Warren is going down, and that's all she wrote. There is nothing he can build anymore that will really give him an edge. He can build Hydralisks, he can build Zerglings, but against these upgraded Roaches, both units won't stand a chance in low numbers.
And now just being silly here.
I like it.
And he gets a little bit of hit points back. He knows he's so far ahead. The Roach count 42-13.
This third base is going down, and if you don't have a third base, you don't have the income anymore. Maybe with run bys, but like 60 supply behind in Zerg versus Zerg, you know what's happening if that occurs.
Exactly. And now he's trying to get his Hydra in a position where he can use the range, but the army size here for Symbol is just too much. He's rolling through here like a bowling ball, and he's about to hit a strike.
Yeah, he's hitting the pins, and he is taking them down hard. All the Hydras are gone. Symbol on his way to victory, once again taking down Trap, and now victorious against Hiva. The Zerg player for the Soul team was the hope, but at this point there's nothing you can do anymore. GG. And Symbol takes the 3-1 for Team AZUBU. Soul is down to the last man.
That Baneling timing was pretty cool. Really, interesting tactic. Going for the Hydras first and making sure the Banelings hit a lot of roaches to do the extra damage at the end. Doing that AoE. And now, the most awkward feeling person in the room must be Deer, knowing that because of his oversight, because of his overconfidence, now Symbol has taken 2 wins in a row. And I think that Trap is going to potentially face a similar fate because Symbol is on fire now. He has the momentum.
It would be surprising if Trap is not going to be the last player now, that is for sure. But at the same time, this is a very dire situation for them. All that the AZUBU coach now has to do is go for the order of players they are going to send out against the last player that Soul has to face them down. And in that battle, that armor upgrade was so important as well. The Banelings alone already taking down a lot of the Hydralists and therefore negating the advantage that Hiva thought he had. But then the armor upgrade comes into play, and even with the Roach number slightly tilted in favor of Hiva, there was no chance that he can win against the army that Symbol had on the field. So at this point, and especially when Symbol was able to trap that wedge between the second and the third base, that's when you already knew, all right, this is it. And Symbol started dancing his roaches the right way.
And there's also that creep spread that both players had that actually allowed Symbol's roaches to reinforce so quickly across the map, constantly running in. It didn't quite connect in the middle, and you could see Hiva was trying to affect it a little bit at times, but Symbol just too quick on the reinforcements, and he kept coming. And I think it's got to be Trap as the last player.
It has to be him. I would be surprised if it's not him. Maybe the coach has another player that he really wants to rely upon, but if you're already down 2 games, and I mean, who else could it be who really takes down 3 players in a row?
Yeah, I mean, it's the last chance. It's the last player.
As the last player, you don't take any chances. You want to have at least a win for the indicator. If that was the last match that they play overall, we might actually just see someone to get the exposure. But I feel at this point, if the coach hasn't given up completely, he needs to send out Trap to at least secure, or try to secure 1 additional point for the indicator, and then maybe try to start an amazing comeback in round 2 of the GSTL. I don't know, but that's, in my opinion, all that they can hope for right now.
Yeah, let's see what they've got to offer here.
Hiva standing, they actually send Hiva out twice. Wouldn't that be something?
And of course it is Trap. So
yep, no surprise there. Good choice against the Zerg player, I mean, no doubt about it, but just as the last man standing, it's always very uncomfortable.
And Trap is a really good player. And, in individual leagues, he's looking stronger than Symbol these days, but I don't know, Symbol's got the momentum right now going for him, that's for sure.
It's not only the momentum problem, it's just the fact that Trap has to face so many players if he really wants to take down AZUBU right now. And what the AZUBU coach can now do is just simply talk to his players and be like, okay, what map do you want to play? Which order should we go for? And that's what I'm thinking about. You can actually see Supernova for once not asleep there, actually thinking a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, got to really feel for the Soul coach right now. This has been just such a tough, tumultuous season for them. Losing Innovation right before the start. Now being in a place where they have no wins, they're down to the last player, and Symbol is just looking like he's in dominating shape right now. And this really is his last chance, so he's got to be sitting there thinking, how am I going to pull myself out of this one?
Yeah. To be quite frank, it's Dia's fault.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt about it. In the game that he played against Symbol, after he took down that 4th base, all he has to do is just sit tight, play it safe. He's on 4 bases, his opponent is on 3. He's a 4-base Protoss against a 3-base Zerg. He can sit there, he can get his AoE up again, his army, and then take it. It was his match to lose. And he made the mistake, and Symbol just looked at the map and was like, you know what, if you overextend yourself like this, I will take this win. Thank you very much. And Dia in this situation, I don't know why he did it in this match of all things, because they are down. They have not won a single match this season. And the team can't be happy with Dia at all. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, like, why is Soul doing so bad this season?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think it's just a unique type of preparation that you have in casual players in general, used to preparing for one matchup, one match, They had to prepare a little bit differently for Pro League the second round last season, where it was all-kill format like we're doing now. But usually you prepare for the individual league match, less matches than, in StarCraft 1, especially less matches than there are in StarCraft 2. And if you're playing against players you can't prepare for, it's a lot harder to succeed. But if you look at these players' raw skill in the individual leagues, that's where they're shining. That's where they're good because they have that preparation time. But in the team league, it's a little bit different, and they seem to struggle to adapt sometimes.
Yeah, they definitely do. The names that they have in the roster are great, but they don't get the results. And most of the matches were actually like quite distinct. So in this situation for the Soul coach, it must be. It's very demotivating, like if you're going down 0-4 in the season and you don't win a single match, a single team match, and most of the times or a couple of times didn't even come close, then it must feel really weird. And then pulling yourself together and actually getting back into the mindset where you say, like, all right, we can still do this. Like, we are in a really tough spot right now, but if we actually pull ourselves together and concentrate on it, we can do it.
Yeah.
And that's what they have to do right now. And maybe Trap is the one who pulls things off right now. I mean, he has a chance here. We've seen it in the past. And he has to win 3 maps in a row. He could do it. Like, if he gets the momentum now, who knows?
Yeah. Right now, I'm sure he's not very happy with the year, I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't think any of them is.
Frost being the map here is a pretty big map, 4-player map, and really good for Protoss if you spawn horizontal. If you're at the bottom and they're at the bottom, or you're at the top and you're there at the top, then you can get that really easy third base and defend that choke point on the bridge. And that's what he's hoping for, I think, here.
That's definitely something that he could do. We're going to find out if he comes into play going into the game now. It might be the last of the day. Trap is the last man standing for Soul. Symbol is still going strong for AZUBU. Let's see who takes it. Here the GSTL.